So give me the question again.
What do you think of the idea of raising funds? Like, what's your own thought about it?
Okay. Should make I finish this one? I don't know.
You say you have plenty on like 1,000 naira or 5,000 naira.
Or like,
Now, so you have a cliche.
bro, Yahuza standard, Ariwa standard, best brand top.
Soft.
Yeah, sure, and chicken. Anyways, regarding the question, like, what do I think is the best way to raise funds?
No, what's your thought about the idea of raising
Oh,
funds for
oh,
startups? Like
like I
for
think
builders, like generally for say people that are building startups or people that want to build shit. What's your idea on the concept of raising funds to build things?
because I think like let me just state clearly that I I have not raised funds. All my knowledge or everything I say is based on just
You've not raised funds. You've raised funds now.
no. I've not raised funds for a product or a business. Okay.
But you've raised funds. Doesn't matter. You have.
Yeah. Oh, I have not raised pre-seed seed funds for a business before. Um. Okay, I actually have. That's crazy. But like, is it
I'm
millions
not
of
telling you. It's the millions now. It's not 3 million or something that you raise.
yeah, it's like in millions of naira. Like it's in naira, sha. But anyways, my point is like not the newsworthy kind. Anyways, what I'm just trying to say at the end of the day is that like my experience or like I'm speaking more from knowledge and from reading it.
I like talk. Eagles fire. See, one mudu of garden and one four. They dey sell am for my backyard here for 1,200. Shit.
Ah,
Guy, we dey record one session here. Welcome on board, nameless.
fine.
Don't call me this your dead network. Musa, I'm muted though. I don't understand what you went to. Shego, what's up?
All right, I'm back. Sorry. Now shall go with this.
Mm.
Wow, they don't start the following in your footsteps. Anyway, Shego, nice write-ups, so bro. Honestly. Um, you go soon
It's
talk.
important shit. You know the right mad things. I don't give her one or two assignments like that. Me run. But
Shit. Sensei. I see how you ask
una
me on LinkedIn. I see sense. You want use me catch cruise.
yeah, yeah,
You want
you
use me,
know.
get
I won't use your rank. In they put in the reps now, so it's part of it.
anyways. Shego,
Answer, answer the okay,
How
Shego.
far?
I want to do this recording might go out online. So but we're just having a conversation. Egov asked me, say, like, what do I think about people that want to like raise money now in this period, in this climate?
Not people. I'm not saying not people. Here's the question. My question is, what
Me,
do you
my
think
network
about
is very good. But go on.
my question is, what do you think about the concept of raising funds to build a business in regards to people who are building stuff out there? What do you think about that concept of raising funds to build a business?
Okay.
What do
Um, with you now, Shego.
I dey repeat the question we asked. What do you think of people out there raising funds to build a business?
not
right?
people, the concept of raising funds to build a business.
Concept of raising funds to use a business. Okay.
Raising funds as a concept.
Raising funds as a concept.
I mean, raising funds for business purposes as a concept is
Okay,
his
so,
question.
or like what um,
Exactly. So like I was explaining to him, Shada, like yeah, I think like I'm a bit familiar with like like just money that's been raised over the past 3 years or so in Nigeria. Once like funding release, say the past 6 7 years has been like the most insane funding rounds. I think like just a year before COVID and like just those years around COVID, um, a lot of money came into startups. For obvious reasons, I think people saw the need to diversify internationally, etc. But yeah, again, my knowledge is more from reading and empirical than experiential. That's based on experience. Honestly, what I think is that I'll talk about like raising funds in Nigeria. 'Cause I can't talk about anywhere else again. I don't have the knowledge required for that. I think in Nigeria, like it's actually I don't know, it's a double-edged sword. First of all, like it's you need money. Like you need money. You need money to move ideas forward. Like that's essentially what it is. Like there's an idea and you want to take that idea from point A, right, to point B, C, D, E, F, whatever. But of course, there's a limitation in the sense of like you don't have the resource required to push that idea to the next stage. Why don't you have that resource? Because literally speaking, to move that idea from point A to point B, maybe you have to create a website. How do you get someone to create a website? You pay for that person's service. How do you pay for that person's service if you don't have money? Well, you have to look for who will give you money. And that's entirely just the entire idea. So like scale up this thought process to, I don't know, the power of 75 or whatever. Set 75 meaning the amount of expertise or energy you need, right, for that particular idea. That is, if this was a formula, your idea raised to the amount of resource required to take you from where you are to where you want to be is where the concept of fundraising comes in, right? So idea raised to the power of n being the resource required. And of course, when you now look at it from this angle, like it's pragmatic and it's very, I don't know, logical in the sense of, well, if I want to build an infrastructure, if I want to build a software for people, like today, I was talking to a co-founder for a business in Nigeria, that into like into bookkeeping, they raised like more than 4 million like in 2022. So they are not small guys. Like they're pretty big. They are a big deal. Like they're in the news and whatnot. So like for guys like that, of course, before they raised that funds, they could not get to the position whereby like they have the software to do bookkeeping at a large scale for people in Nigeria, right? So I think like it is necessary for those reasons because you need to move ideas forward. But now let's contextualize it in Nigeria. Most
Mhm.
investors in Nigeria are foreign investors. I'm talking about the startup space now. And by the startup space, we're really talking about the fintech space in Nigeria because I think up until like last year, um like more than half of funding into Nigerian startups are in the fintech space. So fintech predominantly. When you look at it, if somebody is giving you dollars, like is investing in you in millions of dollars, and you get your revenue in naira, instantly there is always going to be like risk from your own part. Except you start charging guys, like the only way to categorically remove this risk is to charge people in dollars for the service that you want to offer customers. But you cannot you cannot charge Nigerians in dollars. And what is the major implication? If you now want to say, okay, I can't charge them directly in dollars, but maybe I can charge them the dollar equivalent in naira, right? You also enter like a loophole in the sense of because of inflation, the FX situation in Nigeria, you will always lose customers. Because if a customer onboarded and joined your service, joined your product, your business, when they pay 2,000 monthly, or I don't know, 30K per year, right? By the time after 6 months, Naira has depreciated again against the dollars, like there's lost value against the dollars. What that will mean is that if your idea was to retain the dollar equivalent, that 30K might now be 40K they have to pay. And just between that 10K difference, automatically, oh, please don't join, bro. Full house. God,
Is
I
this
love
is
this.
this
I
is this
love
not grace?
I love this, bro. Full house, bro.
Um, now
Anyways.
she go come call me. I dey sleep before.
how
Eh,
was how
Um,
was your how was your test?
more some things not supposed to ask me. Now, no sabi genius.
shit. Prince when they go school in the US, but
Na
no.
genius, na genius, no way. Na him lecture dey use mark
Nah,
others.
Wall Street guy.
Prince, Prince
That
say, Prince, JT Prince talk this morning. Prince say, if I fail, it means everybody else really, really failed. Like, I can't forget that shit. Like, I heard it this morning. I was like, that's some high level confidence shit. You know,
Person wey dey
that's
sleep by
kind of
6 a.m. Person wey dey sleep by 6 a.m. This one upon at the word.
how we know say
that's
no be porn? How we know say no be
that's high confidence. That's the kind of confidence
Now
that
my
don't want out
results
to
will tell you now.
Tom, make I see you. Make I see you for NYSC first. Make I
You
see
see it
you.
all.
They control Nasdaq stocks. Now when I go know.
You know, okay. To say
Wait,
NYSC.
and I NYSC first, so but that
Yeah,
I,
I
I
don't
understand.
New York
NASDAQ.
Stock Exchange. Waiting bring NYSC come in.
We
Jesus, oh.
don't smart party government for this country. I will not say anything again.
Guy, the other day, this guy be dey yarn me like some kind chronicles.
Guy, we did
I
this
run,
call is recorded.
runs for FA, bro. Like
This call is recorded, Prince, for your information. Yeah, it might go out as a podcast episode. So,
so don't
Are you
say anything that
serious?
might incriminate you. That's what he means. Anyways, like Egg just say your question
Ah,
again, then I'll get back to it.
oh yeah, so my question was, what do you think about the concept of raising funds to run a business? The idea behind it. What are your thoughts around that?
Just give him like 1 minute summary of what I've been saying so far, then I'll continue.
Okay. Um. So what you were saying so far is like you're talking about Keeper and how they've raised their own funds and the idea behind like, raising how it's necessary because the
I
naira
wasn't
can
talking about
always
cheaper.
match. Ke- Oh, sorry. You shan't mention a startup in Nigeria, not cheaper. A startup in Nigeria
Hypothetical
and
startup, yes.
yeah. Not cheaper. Then you were like, this company have raised funds for this, and it's necessary to raise money because obviously you need them. But then the investors that are bringing in this money, they will need to break profit one way or the other, and it's not looking viable because you raise money, somebody gives you 10 million dollars, and then your profit that year is in naira, and before you convert it into dollar the next year again, right? The naira and the dollar have, the distance between both of them is like your love life keeps getting farther and farther. Like this kind of shit keeps
Jesus
happening.
Christ.
So
yeah,
that's that's basically around what you can see.
I can confirm.
Yeah. Anyways, Sha, that's what I was like saying that you need money you need resource to capital to move you forward in your ideas. And essentially, I was not using the Nigerian context where I got explained that let's imagine that, like you are giving 10 million, like they invest in you, tell me 10 million perhaps for seed funding. And with that 10 million, you're supposed to do, of course, like who are your customers? Your customers are Nigerians. And what's the idea? The idea is that like you're going to charge them in Naira because how the hell do you want to charge Nigerians in dollars? Does not make sense. But of course, then
Yeah.
inflation comes in. And then if your idea, right? So these were now the scenarios I'm giving. If your idea was to charge Nigerians in the dollar equivalent, in January, let's say you were charging them 30,000 Naira, right? Under this regime, by June, you might be charging them if you are still holding on to their dollar equivalent from 30K, you might be charging them perhaps like 55K or 50K for the same service. Just that move in 10,000, 15,000 Naira might cost you perhaps like 60 to 80% of your customers. Because like price is also very like customers are very price sensitive, especially depending on what kind of product you do, right? So some products are like elastic, some products are more like inelastic. Elastic meaning that a change in price will mean that people will demand it less, and inelastic meaning that a change in price means that people will not be so moved at the end of the day. So if your product is an elastic product, right, in which case in the fintech space, I think most are honestly because there are different options. And the nature of competition is that people are always competing with price to take away customers from other guys. So if this is the case, you want to charge the dollar equivalent, you are going
Price,
to what?
price, price, price. Where do you put quality?
Just wait. Let me finish what I'm saying first before I ask you questions. So if like you want to keep charging your customers based on the dollar equivalents, right? And you're in a context like Nigeria, they give you $10 million, which technically at this point is like 11 billion naira that you've converted. If they give you that money, and let's imagine even like your growth rate is like 200% month on month, like in terms of your
Yeah,
customers, like you're onboarding like more customers every month. But when you look at the revenue, you will never catch up. Like you will never catch up to like your goals and your metrics in dollar terms. And of course, like your investor don't give two shits about your currency. Like I gave you money in dollars, I'm gonna get dollars back, right? And of course, depending on like what stage of funding you are in, you will need to raise more money to take you to the next things, like or the next stages of your own business. So if you're like, in like one series and to move to the next series, right? You have to raise more money. But like the next investor might not invest in you when they see that, okay, yeah, this might be a good business, but the currency, like the nature of the business, like the context of the business, that's the business in Nigeria in the particular country, makes it like not attractive at the end of the day. Especially when you're looking at guys that are looking for like returns in the next 3 to 5 years. They're looking like for guys that are looking for returns like next 10 years. Perhaps you don't have a problem with those kind of investors. But 3 to 5 years, they will not even invest in you, even if your revenue is increasing. Because why? Like inflation will chop it away and it will go. So the concept of
exactly, exactly.
the concept of investing, so like
Raising funds.
what you ask like about raising sorry the concept of raising money I
Uh-huh.
think like you can't take it away, like that's the point of business, and then capital is the point of, except you want to be using your money, and why will you want to
Yeah,
do that?
see,
You want to be poor?
see. Prince and Shego, you guys can chip in here. Don't You can chip in anytime. So this is my own reasoning towards it. I feel like we are here in Nigeria. We are so much. Guys, unmute your mic now. Looks like I'm doing like one session like this. Unmute your mic, please.
No,
So
let me
we
know.
are. I feel here in Nigeria, especially, we have the idea of raising money, and we see it more than a business thing, but rather than a thing of ego and prestige. You raise $1 million, you raise 200K USD. It feels more like your startup is an important thing because you raised money. So many people are trying to raise money for businesses that don't even need you to raise money. The idea, like there's this founders group, and every single time I mention the idea of bootstrapping, nobody on the group ever replies me on like somebody will ask me what is bootstrapping. Everybody is seriously trying to raise money, going to meetings, pitching, and right here I'm just thinking, I'm like, there are businesses that you can do without needing to raise money for. Like you can legit bootstrap this business, whereby the money coming in is what you use to fund the other part of it, where you don't need investors. Like you don't need people to put in 2 million, even if it's in naira. I think over we have put the investing and raising money thing on a pedestal. I feels like if you don't raise or you don't want to raise, your startup is not important enough yet. That's how I think we all look at it. The concept is nice, but I feel it's
Okay,
just over. It's over.
can you please break down bootstrapping for us?
Okay, so bootstrapping is simply this. Like, I think it's similar to what I do was podcasting and not just this thing, Milky Moment, where you start the business like it's with the service level with your own funds, like the smallest amount of money you can. The customer pays you, and then you use that money to run the other part of it, right? So, um, we for example we build an app together. Now, let's take for example Willow. I built Willow, and Willow is working to transcribe whatever it's doing, right? I'm not going to put it out there for somebody copies it. So let's say we build an app that does a simple service for somebody with our own skill sets, right? And then we ship it out to one customer. Customer pays us 1,000 naira a month. 1,000 naira a month times 500 people, that is a million naira. So our own plan as bootstrappers is to just serve our customers, keep them small, but make sure we're making enough revenue to cover the cost. So that way, we are using the revenue coming in for growth metric. We are not automatically saying, hey, we are going to grow 200 times by investing money and hiring 200 people. By using the money coming in from the business to run the business directly. We are maintaining our customer base small, charging higher prices, raising enough revenue to keep the business going. Our own salaries are small, but that's the idea of bootstrapping, like using the money that's coming from the business back into it. You get.
Okay.
Hello, Prince. You hear me? Okay.
Basically, I'm talking about a way of, can you hear me? A way of protecting your equity and still kickstarting the business. Abi? Well, it all
Yes, like
depends.
yeah, protecting your equity 100%.
It all depends on the business. That is just it. I don't know the business that people are discussing today, but I
No,
can't
no
wait for.
business we're discussing generally.
Eh?
It's just a
Okay,
general discussion. It's no business specifically.
okay. Okay, can we switch?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can switch to any conversation.
The arguments I've been having for the past 1 week ago, we'll finish on today. Thank God,
You
say
can
you
start
start.
my network.
Who's
Yeah,
that?
that,
The answer.
Like that, we actually finished the argument yesterday, Prince.
he was not here now.
So,
I know,
who,
but
who
you
won?
know, eh?
Has Ego changed his mindset?
Nah, bro, like you guys are saying the same thing, bro. Like you guys are just saying the same thing, but you're just not somehow you're not seeing it together. For
What
me,
I'm
when I
saying
hate the
is
two,
that,
like
no, we're saying the same thing, but the difference is that me, I'm saying, don't even create the MVP. Go ask for money. Ego is saying, let us work on MVP and go ask for money. So there's a difference.
chill. Let me finish with Egob's this thing first, because also let's not spill business secrets on a podcast. Uh,
Exactly.
So
this
what?
is being recorded. Let's not talk about that conversation here. It's being recorded.
No,
So
no. I'm coming.
when I
we
stop
we can
recording, when I stop recording, then we can talk about it. But Egob, like as regards your points, so let's start off from InterSwitch is one of like if you like the father of what you said, like
fintech.
investing as prestige. Now
Yes.
what you said as investing as prestige, like it's like you have a golden star if you raise money. Um,
Yes.
InterSwitch in 2011 raised, according to like their Crunchbase profile, they raised 10.5 million from two investors like Helios Investment Partners and Ad Level Capital. But I think the main like funding, in my opinion, right, and from like what I saw, is that like the funding craze started, I think, from Paystack. Like I think Paystack is a monument when it comes to funding in Nigeria. And what do I mean? Of course, like Paystack, first of all, they are the first Nigerians to be funded by Y Combinator. Y Combinator is very popular in Nigeria now. And I think it's because of Paystack. Because Paystack is a very good successful case study. But in 2016, when Paystack received the funding from Y Combinator, you know, Sam Altman's Y Combinator, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know.
To add to the ego. So like Sal Alban's Y Combinator. So in 2016, when they received the funding, it's 120K. Like they were part of the cohort and they received 120K funding. But like, why am I saying like the craze for Paystack? Because of course, Paystack were acquired by Stripe for 200 million. Imagine you were the founder then for Paystack, bro. You cashed out. You freaking cashed out. Like, that's all. Like, you can retire now, bro. Like, you can actually retire. Like, just set up your
Yes. Now.
own.
You
venture
can retire
capital,
or marry
the
two wives.
funding
It's one of those
exactly
things.
like four. I can marry six if you want. But like Paystack is like I think the prototype that a lot of guys, when I say guys now, I mean like fintech because as I already explained,
Founders generally in Nigeria.
like a lot of people are, from what I see, following the Paystack example or like using Paystack as a prototype. And of course, when you look at it this way, especially when you know like the argument of like bootstrapping versus raising fund, like it makes sense if your prototype is Paystack to value raising funds. On the one hand, but on the other hand, like it's also a logical position in the sense of Nigerian investors do not have the money required to scale your business in real terms. Right. And like the definition of startups, like, and I mean startups as understood globally, is that
Yeah.
you are a fast growing company. Like you are nearly doubling your size every single year or more. Right. That is like the understanding of startups, even though like everybody uses startups these days. That is the basic understanding. Even like the startup what's it called? The Startup Act, I think last year or was it 2 years ago? Um, was it last year? Anyways, there's a startup bill in Nigeria. I think it also
Yeah,
divides.
I know that thing has been happening since 2021, I guess, even 2022,
Yeah,
where they
yeah,
were
yeah, on
trying
my,
to sign the startup bill in Nigeria. They were going up and down to every tech event talking about it because tech people didn't like it.
yeah,
So,
on my narration podcast, I have
yeah, yeah, I think it was one of the earliest guys you interviewed on Narration
yeah,
Self.
Osaratin Gobadia. Yeah, I spoke to him about it when they were still like when it was not yet still finalized. But anyways, that's the definition of a startup. So when you look at it, obviously, like Nigerian investors do not have the money to help you grow to that scale. So what are your options? You move out, right? And also, like I think, like the Inya Boyeji group, like so Inya
What's
Boyeji's
what's the
class.
thing about Musa? What's the thing about speed? Like I understand. So I wrote this article, right? This note on Milky Moments is going out on Sunday. For people who don't know, like Milky Moments is this really high paid newsletter
Shego see marketer. Shego,
where I talk
and the guy
about
just
guy.
keep just keeping products. This
Chill
guy.
out. No, now where I strictly talk about like high level business podcasts. I take notes about high level business
That's
podcasts and their
sponsor. This is
conversations.
a sponsored
It's paid.
conversation now.
Wait now, it's not sponsored. Now it's value, guys. Value is value. So it's a paid newsletter, it's 1,000 naira a month, but you get access to it. So this next Sunday, right? There's this article, there's this podcast. It's called Momentum is Everything from Founders Journal. Alex Lieberman. He's the founder of Money Brew, very $1 million business at this point now. And also finding he also founded other company together with some executive from Google. Now he was talking about momentum is everything and how you see that for a startup, speed is very necessary. Making decision and taking action is very necessary, which I understand. So I also want to make this clear. Like from that note, I could see that okay, speed is very necessary. Making decisions, moving the startup fast. Like the early startup, like the startup earliest in the market, controls the pace of the market, right? So you don't enter the market and start reacting like the way Google was reacting to GPT launch instead of Google actually launching and let OpenAI react. That's how it is right now. OpenAI post out something. OpenAI is a pace setter. OpenAI will pace, you set the pace. Google will react. That's where the AI race is right now. So speed is very necessary. Taking to market, launching, collecting market share. But then again, right, he also mentioned something about like speed is not an excuse. Speed is not an excuse for you to do stupid things. Like there's some decisions that require you to take your time back and look at the holistic view. Look at some pointers in why am I rushing to raise 10 million? Is it to cover market share in the next 2 years? Or is it because inside my heart, I believe this would give me a prestigious feel as a founder? Or this would take me to a place as a founder? Like, what is your product essentially that it needs 2 million or it needs 10 million naira? Like, you are a startup that your business is virtual card. What are you doing with $10 million? Why? You get, I'm like, why are you
Egg up,
hunting
egg
ten
up.
million dollars? Eh?
Me and you. Me, you, Shago, and Prince will most likely like build a company in the years to come, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you two reasons why when we're working on that company, speed will be vital. Speed
Yes, I
is
know.
vital, one for capital and two for competition. What do I mean by capital? Speed is vital for capital in the sense of like the reason why the idea of venture capital is succeeding or has succeeded so far is because of the returns. If I like returns in real life, right? If so, private investors are not governments. Like they want to be alive and get their money back, their money's worth. People have limited lifespans. Like investors normally are, like in their 40s above, 40s, 50s. Imagine that it
Yeah.
takes 20 years to build a credible business. So that's to say that an investor that invested when he was 40, he had like money, he's a millionaire by 40 and starts investing. It's by 60 to reap his rewards. And yeah, of course, like, yeah, it's good and whatever, right? But it's like that money is an investment to that guy, to that private guy, right? So it is necessary for him to prioritize where he will keep his money or put his money because it is the same like it's the same logic for him to putting his money in stocks or putting his money like I don't know any other venture that will give him back his money. But like he's choosing this high risk but high reward vehicle, which is like a business at the end of the day. And the reason why speed is important is because he wants to get his money back before he dies, right? Capital needs to return because those capital are mostly private. So that is the first
But
reason. The
but
second,
why you going to collect money? Like my point is, can your business not run at a scale where you bootstrap it? Like
let me
why
wait, go. Let me say my second one, then maybe this thing you're saying, maybe to change. The second one, I say capital, right? And then second one is competition. When it comes to
Mhm.
competition, that's like speed. In Nigeria today, I understand what
Eh,
you're saying that like is it because of prestige or whatever, but it's like, guy, guys are bloody moving. Like
yeah,
people are
I
bloody
agree.
working
I
hard
agree.
to actually capture that thing you don't want to capture. Like it's not only you in the race. So at the end of the day, whatever idea you think you have, AI, fintech, e-commerce, whatever it is,
Podcast too.
logistics, podcast, whatever it is, my guy, data, whatever it is, I assure you that somebody else has had that idea, right? So at this point, it's like evolution taking place. The survival of the fittest. The first to get the idea to a position whereby it meets the right resource and the right market, right, will win. Like, obviously, will win in the sense of like they'll be able to control more of the market share as at that point. Of
You
course,
become the pace
product,
setters like OpenAI.
yeah. So, but like product market fit is very difficult. And I think like because of Nigeria, speed is also important for like non-developed places like this because it's not so much about the idea that you think you're working on. But
Alpha
it's about
Musa.
like, what?
Alpha Musa.
I didn't hear you.
Eh?
If you want to tip my words, try the paraphrase am.
This boy.
Wetin I tip abeg? Wetin I
You
tip?
dey talk wetin I tell Prince yesterday and you dey use my words. So if you
Me,
want
I
me
did that
to
Forget I
conversation.
no
I
say
don't even
eh,
did the
papa,
conversation, bro.
eh?
I don't did your conversation now.
I know say you know dey, but if you dey tip, you paraphrase am. My network bad, but I dey hear that part. So go
Hey,
on.
You forget sight.
plagiarism enter your network connect. Make them no steal your idea. Abi.
about guy things.
You see, even the network they compete. Egg up, so you see. Anyways, so it's competition. Like honestly, I feel like for most guys in Nigeria, like Ego, me and you before we even started this recording, we're talking about keeper, right? And how like for us, obviously, it makes no sense how a fintech is becoming an edtech. That guy must have a genius idea, right? But it's like the guy has transitioned, or allegedly by tech about the guy has transitioned. Is going like keeper is going to transition to an edtech company. By the way, if you're a keeper, if you have an account to keeper, that's perhaps the reason why you're not able to access your account. But back to the point, competition because, in my opinion, a lot of Nigerians, I'm talking about like all the founders that we know, right? GB, Flutterwave, Iyaboyeji, InterSwitch, whatever startups we're talking about. Like, I believe a lot of them and not in the idea that like is driving them. And what I mean is that because Nigeria is still a country that we are actually just setting the infrastructure, like we are just putting the foundation when you think about it. Like the startup community is so young. We're actually just starting. In the next 5 to 10 years, a lot of businesses will evolve and they will take up new shape because they
If the
have seen
country
new
if the country
opportunities,
evolves, if the
right?
country evolves.
Okay, yes, if the country evolves and if there's even in Nigeria at that point, like if that is the case, their movement, like their speed, because they felt pressure of guys trying to get like the idea they are trying to work on, right, will catapult people into evolved ideas and evolved companies, right, that will in itself allow them to profit more. So just to summarize again, why speed, in my opinion, as I said, if four of us are going to work together, when four of us start working together on that idea we're working on, capital is the reason why we speed because whoever is investing in you is gonna die someday and he wants to see his return. And two, competition because you're not the only one that has the idea. Technically, like other people might have the idea and they're also working towards it. But make I shut up now. Okay, finally, like bootstrapping. I me in a sane world, bootstrapping is the way to go. Like if we're living in the days of our forefathers, like all our forefathers, farmers bootstraps, guy. Like
Yes, now
farmers
they ate from
bootstrap
what they sowed, use it to pay the
exactly,
slaves and pay
and
every other person.
farmers bootstrapped, right? But it's like it's not a farming world anymore.
It doesn't mean now. It doesn't still mean. Well, I think it depends on the business or what you visionary you have for the business. Also, you get
So
like if you envision your business to take 20 million people out of job, then you can quit bootstrapping because to take 20 million out of job, yeah, out of joblessness, you need a lot of money for that. Like so, yeah, I think that's the way to go. But then again, if
but wait,
you have a
egg up. Startups are actually like startups are actually like tech-driven companies. Like in the real sense of startups, like actually that is why they also need speed because technology also evolves and changes rapidly. But anyway,
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Like I mean, all you said makes sense to me. It's not like it didn't make any sense. The speed thing is very essential and it's good for competition because you can take market share easily and then figure out you have the higher advantage to what's it called product market fit because you're in the market, you understand the users more and they are more in your face. But there's one thing about Apple that I would say is Apple sits back, watches people, and does the things the Apple way. They sit back, they watch you, and do things the Apple way, and then they become a competition. How the fuck that happens is something that I would want to learn. Apple was never
I don't agree with that statement.
Apple was never in the virtual reality
That's
space.
aside that
They allowed
product, aside
wait now,
that
wait,
product,
let me land.
aside
Camps, let
that
me land.
product.
Let me land. Let me land. They were never in the virtual reality space. And they came and now they
Valid.
are in this space.
Aside the Vision Pro, that statement cannot like you can't say that statement for Apple. Aside, it's only Vision Pro, and you can't like how much. It's not even like we don't even know the revenues from Vision Pro. That thing is 4K. Like how many guys are actually gonna buy it, right? So the
Guys
thing
out
is that
so it's sold out. It's sold out, bro.
yeah, it's sold out, but like how many quantities did they like release? That's what you should ask yourself. Like if I
Let
only
me
had
Google
one
it
K in
now.
stock and it sold out, well,
Who's using Ember?
Prince, what are you saying?
Sorry,
Prince Alpha.
I know they talk. I dey talk to myself.
Okay. What is the total
guy, you cannot say that
quantity?
like Apple is sitting down. Are you whining me? That guy's not come for
See,
you. I can't you tell me that Apple is sitting down.
see, Apple. I'm not saying Apple is sitting down. Like,
Network and
I'm not doing anything. But they are not rushing. Google has so much products that they kill a product every year. Now, these are two companies taking two different approaches that are working for them. Google is the kind of company that they put out product so much that every year they kill a product. Do you get me? Like, do you know what that
Oh,
is?
you're talking about a
Last year
trillion
they
dollar
killed
company,
a
you
something.
guy. Like Apple's value in Naira does not exist. Like, we don't have the word for Apple's market cap in Naira. Like, what is after trillion? Who knows? Like, we don't have that word. It does not exist yet. So, like, you can't, like, they have a moat. Like,
Yeah.
they have a product that protects them. So they don't necessarily have to move. You know the revenues that comes from all these flimsy changes in the iPhones? Do you even know like the AirPods, this second generation AirPods that they released, the revenue that they got, I think was it 2023 or 2022? Guy, the revenue for AirPods is an entire ecosystem. Why the hell do you need, like, why are you moving? Who should move you? Like, who? Who is going to move you?
Okay, so they are the wrong they are the wrong people to mention here because they are, let's say in this case they are juggernauts, right? They have the liberty to
Apple
look
is
at
bloody
broader picture.
Apple. They are in a class on their own.
Yeah, whatever helps you focus sleep at night. Yeah, the
Oh,
class on. By the way, the figure is 200,000. 200,000 Vision Pro sold
Exactly.
out.
And it's 4K. Like it's
what I want
4K
to say,
dollars.
should I say something?
Yeah, yeah, Prince, can chip in.
So we are all on the same page about bootstrapping and working.
Yeah,
But the issue right now is
it's a thing that is
he's
slower.
talking
It's
about the
slower, but
change
like it
in
works.
naira affecting the change in dollar rates affecting businesses, but I don't know how to
Yeah.
mitigate that. What I would say first of all is except the investor is a dunce or he's a Russian oligarch or he's somebody that's trying to run from the government by pushing his money to your country. No investor in their right mind will put their money in the business of a country that doesn't have exchange rates. So it is not a
But,
problem. It's a
but
problem when
what do
opportunity
you now
comes.
qualify
You said?
investors that are doing it?
What I saying?
What about the investors that are doing it? What will you
Who
say
has done
about them?
that
The
case?
investors that are doing it currently, what will you
How
say
many
about
of
them?
them came after Tinubu?
How many? Yeah, I think there are still more now. Like May Hogan is still investing in people now. Aggressive capital.
Who?
May Hogan, investing capital. If you check investing group, investing for good
Not
capital, investing
okay.
capital.
So he's abroad.
No,
Guy,
she invests
ego,
specifically in
ego. I know you have like
African startups.
you have a fantasy on this my Hogan woman, but like guy, her portfolio, like bro, her portfolio is not up to 200 million, bro. Like it's the assets, wait, name not me, but like I mean I follow her on LinkedIn, but I don't think her assets under management is up to 200 million. I mean like it's big, but in the in this like venture capital world, you are just about like a normal size or like even a pretty small size. So you can't use Maya Hogan to justify.
Me personally, I feel like anybody that pump money in Africa doesn't mean they're pumping
So
money in
it's small.
Nigeria. Rwanda is a very good country. What I'll say is that even if they are pumping to a company in Nigeria, it's not a company like Bolt that collects from customer in Naira. It's company that is international based, that it is not affected solely by Naira. You get my point. So it's all about the business model. All this part, we cannot be getting headache
Even
over something than an investor
Flutterwave,
problem. Eh?
Flutterwave did California.
They said Flutter will take exactly.
Like forget saying a Nigerian company, most of
Damn,
them
I'm late.
they're based outside. So um,
Not how
yeah, my
about
network get
California, but
destroyed.
like who are the customers? That's the main question. Because
You know, like you talk
maybe
like
your customer go pay
investment.
you.
Eh?
Maybe your customer go pay you.
I'm
They
back.
get
I'm back.
few customers outside Nigeria now. I think they even have customers in the US. From what I was seeing today, they have an investment of over 420 million. I'm not sure say Nigerian customers go fit give
What?
1% of that. Flutterwave, like their investment, total investment is about $420 million. So Nigerians, I'm not sure say their money they move that market like that.
Ego,
I hear you.
Like revenue from I just calculated it's like 200,000 times 4,000. I think like Vision Pro is like 3,000. Let's just say 4,000. It's $800 million. Guy, for Apple, well, revenue wise, yeah,
Well,
it's a lot.
your point has been proven. Your point has been proven.
My point being like this is just a test. Like
They
they're just testing.
200K for over
they
7
are one of
billion.
the companies that they are sitting
They
on
go
real cash.
perform.
They are sitting on cash, real cash. They are one of the companies that is always profitable. Like I mean, they are profitable. Right? So I know. God bless. Don't rub it in my face. Thank you.
I'm checking like in tech about like Q4 funding last year. It was Prince I was talking about like funding Tinubu's regime. And in Q4, funding generally in Africa was 551. And most of the time, like, well, it depends. Nigeria is probably like a quarter of that. So half of that's like about 100, let's just say 150 million more or less out of that 551 thereabouts came to Nigeria since Tinubu entered power. Like 200 million thereabouts entered Nigeria. Obviously, like we're still in Q1 of 2024, so we don't know. But still, bro, I think like funding is gonna decline. Like, and I don't even know how. I actually pity founders, bro. Founders that raise money, especially last year. Like this, like it's not. This is where you know real entrepreneurs because you have to think outside the box. Like this.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't like my network. Fucking hell.
this is crazy, man. It's crazy. I wish all the people good luck. People that are trying to fund to change the world, raise 200 million. And to be honest, I
Change
wish
the
them
world
good luck.
It
when
is sound
dollars.
like it is sound like mockery.
No, nah, no. I wish them good luck. Oh, to be honest, like I feel maybe by the time I build my next company again, I would have that mindset. I'll be in that place. It's like saying, until you experience where the shoe hurts, you can't tell. So maybe when I wear the shoe, is but right now, the products I've built and the experience I have, I think the strapping is the way I'm gonna go. Um, this is in Aries future, to be honest. I don't know about you guys. You want to raise subspace? Yeah, but here, like some of them I know 45 gene that close down is part of their portfolio. You guys know 55 gene. I'll be 54 gene.
This your Ife
Hello?
network.
Are you guys hearing me?
Yeah, I don't know where the waka
I
go.
don't know, bro. Are you with the gods? Like, why is it like this?
I did my house now. I don't go anywhere. So I'm looking at their portfolio. 45 gene that closed down is part of aggressive capital. Well, investors, it's part of the risk in it.
Mm. Aggressive capital has 60 million. Like their fund one, they invested $10 million. Their their fund two, they invested $50 million. Like they're currently in their fund two. Like it's a $50 million fund. So like this is a $60 million fund at the end of the day, like aggressive capital. And which business you say shut down? Fund what's the
54 gene.
okay 54 Gene
Yeah.
or more and like Maya has really on LinkedIn she has really like been hyping
Yeah,
this.
they raised money. They raised $45 million. They raised
Okay.
$45 million, one of the highest recorded, bro.
In
That's
Nigeria,
impressive.
or
In, Af- in Africa, bro.
Sure. At the end
Well,
of the day, is high risk. This where this where high risk actually comes in because this was a possibility all the time.
the overall the idea is good though. Like I'm saying, the idea of 54 Gene as a company is profits the environment. Like they are studying the genealogy of us Africa, they are documenting it, and they are trying to figure out drugs. Like they are in the land of basically resources. So like the idea itself is good. Talk about release an article on what happened. I think I read it when it came out. So I read it late last year. Sha. I think I was doing a research on field startup. I have this where I want to speak to as much field startups or CEOs that I can find. You know, but yeah, I was not even doing a research on them, see if I can get to their CEO and just like have a podcast session with them and their stories is one you have to read. You know. But yeah, that's it. I don't know. Do you guys have any other topic? Well, Prince keeps coming and going out.
Yeah, I
Sha,
keep getting left and right by my network. So
Maybe next time.
Virgin, when you look at the company, guy, the field they entered is actually very like I'm not shocked that
Yeah,
they
it's from
stopped that. It's not even pharmacy, like it's
eh?
pharmaceutical, like
Like,
genomics. Like what? Like you want to come and do the
yes,
like?
now.
Do we have the capacity to do DNA, bro? Like how?
Whoa. See what they are doing, what they wanted to do, or what the impacts that we have on this continent, guy, will be huge. Do you know that most of the research that they use to treat us, that the drugs that we buy, are research not done on people with our own genealogy? They are research done on people that are not on this continent. That we can't see, we cannot see as Nigerians the impact of the civil war, how what it affected us, how it affected the change in our system. We can't see. See, the Igbo people were eating. There were rumors that the Igbo people, some of them ate their dead. People were eating lizard, rabbits. They were eating things that humans really like right from town did not really eat up to that time. We cannot document the change in our genealogy of what happened. Do you know what that means? Like we've lost that data for life. These guys were going to document it and help us understand the future even more. Guy, to me, that's a billion-dollar industry because now they can give us drugs locally manufactured at a cheaper rate and even external to other African countries. We don't have to import drugs for us because they are treating us with the drugs they are making here for our own body. Do you get? So like it's a billion-dollar company to me. I don't know, it's just so unfortunate that it closed down.
So let me just, I mean, there's this company called um and for me 45 million was not enough. That like me personally, I think that's my opinion. I'm reading like the tech about article that you're talking about, and of course, I'm like
Yeah,
they said that they set out to provide crucial genome information on Africans to help improve the drug discovery process of global
yeah,
pharmaceutical companies, etc. What I just did was to go to like a random listed public company in the US, right? Their company, the name is Neogenomics. Like, I don't know their revenue. Of course, it might be like much bigger, like perhaps we cannot compare. But like, anyways, what I wanted to find out is like, what is the R&D budget for this company? Bro, the R&D budget in 1 year is $7.5 million in the
ah,
US. In the US. Like, this
are you
is a
serious?
random company I just searched for 7.5 million. They are publicly listed, which means that like this data is like it's public data. It's $7.5 million. You are raising 45. Like, I mean, like, yeah, it's a lot because you are comparing with fintech companies. That's why it's a lot. If all the funding rounds came from pharmaceutical companies, we'll be talking about 100 million funds. We'll be talking about like perhaps like 80 million, like 50 million. Like 50 will be the new 1.5 million. If we're talking about like pharmaceuticals and medical research at the end of the day. And I don't know where they like which market they wanted to start with, but even if it's like just Nigeria, it's like it was just too small. Like Shami, I don't know the business model, I can't talk much into it, but I don't think it's even like enough.
It's crazy. Not enough. Whatever happened is it was a painful thing. She asked me. I when I saw it, they got 54 million. I'm like, well, it's $1 billion company, so 54 million in funding. You know, I think I'll be 54, yeah, 55 million in funding is money. To be honest, it's something that the company and the industry is worth it. You saying it's not enough right now. I'm like, you know, one of those things in
I
it.
don't know. I'm like I don't know the business model, so I'm just assuming it's not enough. Like I don't know like what were the actual things.
Yeah,
Um,
like importing, like they spend some of the money importing materials, importing tools, software, is it tools, equipment and stuff. Um, so yeah, this is I pray for them, to be honest. Like, I pray that something like that comes back to Africa. Like,
it will come back. The so in anti-fragility, Taleb, the entire concept is that the death, like the logic of anti-fragility is that the death of 54 gene means that the next company that will do what 54 gene is going to do has the information that destroys
needed.
54 gene. So they will
Mm.
avoid that mistake. So every startup failed is perhaps even better to study than the one succeeding because they just
Now
tell
why
you to avoid.
now why people don't they ask me for business advice? Yes, the person want to do business, he ask me for business and I say me where I don't do something when no succeed. He say now why na me they come ask me no do the same thing where I do. Say yeah.
Guy,
Now
that
this
guy roasted you and hyped
I
you at
swear.
the same time. Like,
At the same time, guy. Yeah.
crazy.
Anyways, as the guy. I don't know. Musa, that's the pod, bro. That's the pod.
Yeah, let's just
Yeah.
stop it here.
Check the link in the description to support the sponsors. Be the if marketing and be of the what's podcasting new key moments to get business insights from top level, high level podcast. Yeah. Can I end the recording, bro?
All right.